Hey everyone, it's Ron Milligan with Remax Select, and I have got the Thanksgiving market statistics for you. This is for last week, the week of Thanksgiving, starting on Monday and ending on Sunday. As is typical for that week, it's a pretty quiet week in the real estate market. A lot of buyers don't want to close right before Thanksgiving. A lot of sellers don't want to close right before Thanksgiving, so they'll push those escrows, the escrow close dates out a little further and close after the holiday rather than right before it. Not surprising. And of course, a lot of agents will advise their clients too that it's a tough week to close at, just because a lot of folks are on vacation at the county, at the escrow companies, and you end up with a lot of stressed staff that's trying to get stuff closed during that week. The number of homes that sold that week, last week, was 503. And that's compared to what we're typically seeing, which is, somewhere between 700, 800, maybe as much as 900 per week of closings. So that's a really suppressed number. I looked back at last year, that same week for Thanksgiving week, and it was also a very quiet week last year compared to what we've been experiencing. That was 628 homes that sold, keeping in mind that we've consistently been selling, closing like 900, if not more, homes per week last year in that run up to that crazy frenzy market that we had in the early spring. The number of active listings is down, and that's a trend that we've been following for the last few weeks. So the supply of listings has been decreasing. We're thinking that initially that this might be kind of a more typical seasonal market decrease in the number of listings, but maybe it's turning out to be something a little bit more. The number decreased around 200 listings from last week to this week, and that's been pretty consistent, somewhere between 100 to 200 listing decrease for about the last 6+ weeks. At the same time, we had been watching over the last few weeks that the number of pending deals had been decreasing, saying that the buyer demand, the buyer side or the demand side of the buyer, the supply and demand equation had been waning along with the supply side of active listings. But this last week, it actually held pretty steady from the week before. So supply decreased by a good number while demand remained just about the same. And part of that might be related to the number of new listings that we saw, which was extremely low. It was like under 300, versus the number of new pending deals that went under contract last week, which was 700. And that was a smaller number than we normally see. Normally we see the new pendings, somewhere between 800 and 1,000, but still it's significantly more than we saw for new listings. Average days on market went down. It went from 23 to 21 days on market from last week to this week, and the median days on market went from 8 to 7. So overall, it could be that we're moving more towards a little more inequity, more to the seller's favor as we go through the holidays. I guess we'll kind of see what happens next week when we, in the next 2 weeks probably, when we see the snapback after Thanksgiving, what happens with those numbers. Maybe there's a whole bunch of sellers that were kind of waiting in the wings for Thanksgiving to pass, and then they're going to list in December. Not normally a great time to be selling in our market, but when the buyer demand is this high and the supply, the competition is that low, it could work out well for those sellers. We've been seeing a lot in our office where agents have been running around looking at houses that maybe have a lot of problems and a lot of things that need to be fixed on them. Usually a lot of stopping points for buyers, which means that they're not going to get a lot of offers. Agents have been thinking, oh, this is one that might be priced a little high. Maybe we can get it at asking price or under asking price. They're not going to get a bunch of offers. They call up the listing agent, and they already have several offers in hand and are going over the asking price. So we'll be monitoring that and let you know. As I always say, all real estate is local. So if you're curious about what's going on in your neck of the woods, your zip code, your elementary school district, whatever it happens to be, or your segment of the market, condominiums, townhouses, single family homes, gated communities, whatever it happens to be, let me know, and I'm happy to run the numbers for you and give you the narrative. All right, we'll talk to you next week.